Does it give you the jitters? Are we clinging to the past, caught in an emotional yo-yo of our own doing? Where have we left ourselves hanging over the truths we have until now been unable to wake up to? The upcoming full moon in Gemini invites reflection, release and completion of lessons from 2025. The last super lunar phase of the year, beneath the energetic shifts of a Venus retrograde and Sagittarian Sun, it highlights the need to confront what has been avoided, embrace transformation and move forward with awareness, supporting us all to awaken with emotional honesty towards the light and shadow of our own integration. It wasn't getting any easier, obviously, despite having the song for this month's blog changing from All I Want for Christmas is My Two Front Teeth, based on my current circumstances, into Wake Me Up by Wham. Regardless what the band's name suggested, there was no real changing moment, no sudden epiphany, no way out of this up and down avoidance, because I didn't want to let go. Of what, I'm not completely sure, or even who, but when I sensed into not only the situations I found myself in earlier, alongside the collective energy for the upcoming full moon, beneath it all I saw the current trajectory if nothing changes, and it gave me the jitters. With my bottom teeth clinging on by a thread, of course, I conveniently distracted myself with the humour of hanging on lyrics. But underneath them, in the wisdom of pain, disappointment, and to some extent, regret, there was something far higher needing to be released. The unwavering faith in me. I've always been funny about oral health, watching my family experience dental decay, for the most part right before they left this mortal coil. A gappy, unhealthy smile carries a certain trigger that I can now see I've disassociated from, beyond experiences. And whilst attending the dentist continues to bring up fear and dread, based on my own childhood unnecessary braces, receiving some of the best specialist care there currently is, I still have my reservations. Not about losing my teeth. I've been reassured the eventual plate, or at least two of my choppers, will be undetectable and cause no discomfort. Or even the failure I feel for not being able to heal the inherited gum disease and TMJ I have, alongside the fact that my sheer stubbornness over the last 7 years has possibly exacerbated any autoimmune problems. Instead, the hesitation comes from a loop I need to wake up to, the traumatic response I have around who I'm becoming. In all honesty, the first time my gums felt like this, I had visited my own mum in the hospice. Roused from dreaming I was eaten by a snake whilst keeping vigil, feeling the venom enter my veins, a normal experience for me on regular occasion when receiving medicine from a totem, I had woken with a burning in my mouth. 5 years later, now the matriarch of my own family, having been with too many souls that have crossed over since, this infection has eaten at my jawline, eroding the bones of once stable, now ground down foundations, whilst I have ignored the pain of necessary loss and continued to strive on. In fact, feeling into this now, it goes back further, in my 30s, to the nightmares of pulling chewing gum from my mouth, a psychic sludge of untapped, repressed, mediumistic knowing and blocked emotions that haunted my sleep for years. Furthermore, even, to my childhood, clinging to my wobbly teeth, for fear of dying like my grandmother appeared to after she lost hers, more petrified each time I swallowed them, always as a result of eating apples. Make of that what you will. So I guess, in truth, my resistance is natural. Going through my upcoming dental surgery is big. Not only the process, but the impact it could have on my health afterwards. But none of this, despite the in-depth history, is the actual story I am yo-yoing away from. that has come in the form of a virus, bringing with it a cold sore and repetitive scenario, leaving me stuck, highlighting where I want to emotionally move on, but am practically not ready. Currently unable to have the required treatment as a result, whilst being refused antibiotics for the infections in my gum, it has boiled down, pun intended, to my struggling body to rectify the situation. Not physically, although it is taking some time and leaving me feeling quite exhausted, but spiritually. Fortunately, I can't force the situation, no matter how much I might claim I want to, because there is one familiar sensation, entangled like the hubba-bubba dreams of my younger years within it. The belief I'm alone. Not the original aim. I have gone into hyper-independent mode, knowing I am the only one that can fix this. Whilst on one level this seems to be the case at present, what was once motivating has become a reality where those that I trust to care for me aren't. The familiarity is tender, less wounding. I have changed. My awareness has increased. I'm not asleep anymore. To the part of me that continues to be traumatized, each time this drive-based version of soothing means well, or towards what I've really been bypassing. In my solo attitude, there is a strange comfort that can't lose anyone or anything. Born from appeasement and self-soothing, inherited down my maternal line, I have, like the first woman, exiled myself, not only from the Eve that birthed me, but all other opportunities to be nurtured. And that's why it isn't easy. Not because of my teeth, but the snake-like wisdom that has come through my own journey with an innate ache I have become accustomed to but yet to complete. The shedding and ultimate return to the Great Mother being offered, waking me up to the archetype I have been evading, however evolving into, all along, since childhood. In the deep stillness of grief and loss of timeless, nevertheless changing seasons, now being felt in my own withdrawal. Death, and in it the feminine, we have misleadingly been shown as the shadow we must avoid. Waiting to be seen, if I wish to take forward the flame of any sparks found in the reflective darkness and ultimate integration of 2025. Something many of us will be feeling into as we approach the final moon of the year. Occurring on the 4th of December, mid-Venus retrograde, it is our work, emotions and love that, with the help of a Sagittarian Sun, will be moving more swiftly as we collectively prepare to shift from the year of the snake to the fire horse. With many areas coming to a completion, especially since 2012, it may feel as if things are moving fast, especially after the deep dive of November. We could be confused into believing everything is coming back to life or back online, but this is where the cold moon comes with a warning, a remembrance. It is only in taking time with the self-discoveries and our emotional expression of them we can open to the more spontaneous change actually available. Yes, that does mean waking up again and again from the slumbers we find ourselves in, particularly regarding who we are and where we have been subconsciously holding ourselves back with outdated perspectives. The world has changed, there is no denying it, yet many remain upside down, declaring they are right, way up, based on how things were, themselves included, and wonder why there is confusion. Thankfully, placed at 13 degrees in Gemini, it is only through bigger picture thinking we can bring clarity and innovative information to a situation over the next few weeks, suggesting we must all expand a little, and in this expect to see some dark horses, ourselves included, but more of that later. Until then, any mental discernment needs to be aimed for from a more authentic alignment of where we find ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable, if we want the more practical desires for next year to make themselves known by the new moon from the 20th and Capricorn season on the solstice. Light, genuine luminosity can only return in the darkness within which it was once hidden. So for us on a physical level, that means appreciating the experiences and then deciding which ones we wish to use, whilst releasing those that will be, as a result, loosened. The question is, do we really want this? If we are still clinging to having it all, there is a high chance we will continue to cause more pain and an eventual automatic I am unity response, for which the stifled conversations from the body will become even louder. December was never going to be subtle, especially around areas we've been avoiding that now require not only our attention, but decisive action. If we want to create something different in the year of the Magi, we must acknowledge the alchemy we have been part of, or not, as the case may be. And it's here the unravelling of the next 12 months starts to reveal itself, in the potential highs that have raised illusions of grandeur, none more so than our own, and the far darker reasons behind them. Only then can we discover what, or in reality who, we really need. The inner child, the fool, the empathic Heyoka that knows one common energy, the rider of said fire horse, death itself, for the change it can bring. With 3 planets squaring the nodes this month, the Sun a day after the full moon, Venus less than 24 hours before the 12-12 portal, and Mercury with the new moon, these friction or choice points are set to help us recognise required inner tensions and ensure we are all aligned with the collective direction, regardless of any financial concerns, physical readiness, or faith and lack of. From the South Node of past perfectionism and fixated obsessiveness in Virgo, to the turmoil of trust and the belief-driven Piscean North Node, the activations we will experience, particularly in relation to our core self, love, abundance, and beauty, and how well we communicate this or not, will invite us to choose. Beyond me and we, past or present, good or bad, light or dark, masculine, feminine, or even above and below, to the sacred marriage of them all from within. If we wish to step into an advanced paradigm, deliver the new earth, be the light we came here to be, fill in the timeless tagline of your own preference, we must recognise its conception inside us, through our actions, thoughts, emotions, as the driving force, the transformation behind any external quantum shifts. Of course, with these planets squaring the nodes, all being in Sagittarius, we will have our moralistic systems challenged, inviting us to witness any irrelevant philosophies and take the out there blame-driven truth being sought back a little closer to home, bringing the necessary mundane into a more manageable, meaningful micro-practice for both. With Mars entering Capricorn on the 15th until February, there is hope that actions will function at their highest expression, no matter how it may seem, meaning we could feel more of our own hang-ups as we get pushed and triggered into the strategic warrior or patient archetype now demanded of us, who, like the centaur that has returned from the underworld, knows that any healing comes in our ability to sustain the furthest reaches of effort it takes to simplify things. Because that is the real beauty of surrender, the mercy of endings, the white rose upon the flag of death, purified through transformation, as what was once physical, important, relevant, is returned gracefully back to spirit to be born again. Having been in astrological retrogrades and zodiac placements that have complicated any clarity, The planet of action, exalted in a more grounded presence, grants us enough ambition to remove restrictions and revolutionize our integrity, realigning us all on a more global level to decisions based on more long-term vision. Given a final push the day before as Mars squares Neptune in Sagittarius, these accumulated, undeniable creative contractions between end results and current options, what we want and are called forth for, aim to eliminate the difference, one way or another, between clear direction, spiritual warfare, and discernment of truth over wishful thinking. Provided, of course, we can work steadily towards goals without being consumed by the outcome or our need beneath them. Representing a mental axis and turning point, it is our lower and higher minds that will inevitably, when balanced and working together, ensure we find logical solutions to the broader concerns we may have become part of. Leaving a post-new moon raw vulnerability by the 30th, which, supported by Mars in Capricorn, sextile in the North Node, will nurture us to arrange individual ambitions with their deep collective calling, simply by focusing on the significance of the here and now, constantly. In this persistent presence, we can open ourselves and perspectives to what has always been the emphasis of this year: completion, integration, visualization, and for some, acceptance of the light that has carried them forward. The vision, held in the very star of the hermit's lamp guiding the path before us, our own outlook, that will now become the focus of direction in the next expansive cycle of the fire horse. This 12-month, numerically linked to creativity, harmony and growth, provides a portal to not only surrender to divine development, but in doing so, see what has actually changed, ourselves included. Appreciating how much this year has shaped or remolded us in preparation for the truth we must now be ready to receive. Different for us all, it will, however, be linked to the medicine of the horse. So anything that opens our heart, one way or another, that has been steadfast in our lives, positively and negatively, and provided the circumstances needed to reflect back the inner wild. For it is this Salka that will move us from Sagittarius season and our desires, meaning or direction, into the inspiring embodiment of Capricorn, where theories and possibilities require facts and foundations, focus and symbolism in order to be a success, not the artificial highs we may have endorsed to prevent it. Are we ready to manifest the inner work into a different external reality? Well, that will depend on how willing we are to go back to the emotional, elemental building blocks of magic. Happening in the third, although some suggest second, decan, this last supermoon provides a dazzling display of duality and adaptability in its arrival. Versatile, imaginative, slippery, and at times elusive, we can find ourselves grappling with choices and pulled in opposite directions. But it is this variety that will bring forth a more ideal environment for intuitive creativity. If we can observe the trickster shadow of this mercurial lunar phase and any potential false communication, our own included, for the nightmare we are energetically enduring. Despite this, there is also a great opportunity to rest and release with deep reflection past burdens, closing chapters, and taking stock of where we may currently be thanks to the asteroid Hebe conjuncting the moon. Known as the cupbearer to the gods, linked to the concept of eternal youth and rejuvenation. In appreciating the cycles of life, growth and renewal, we are more aware of how and where we can restore our own vitality. But of course, that means admitting what brings us alive and where we need to no longer adapt to the changes that prevent this. Whilst initially grim, this placement linked to the 9 and 10 of swords in the tarot is waking us all from the hedonistic hallucinations we may have found ourselves in by focusing truly on the part of us they no longer serve. occurring in the UK at 2:48 p.m, offering the vibrational frequencies of the High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant, Chariot, Strength, Lovers, Hermit, Justice, Hanged Man, Death, Devil, Temperance, and Empress overall. We are all being guided to look at whether we are willing to initiate from what is left an improved perspective of our own endurances, the path we have walked, and decide upon the route we now take, based on how well we can observe the lessons playing out for the balance, Chicana, at times yo-yo-ish bridge they will ultimately bring in their united duality. May we all allow the intuitive focus, movement, freedom, choice, endings, and ultimately the dance of life help us realize who we were always becoming. In deepest munay, I ask you now, what's really bugging you? You know where I am. Take care. Kirsty.